In the heart of Botswana, in the Chobe Game Reserve, lived one very special elephant. Her name was Amara, and she was known to the entire ranger team for her intelligence and unusual sensitivity. Amara often came to the guard camp, as if she sensed that no one would hurt her here. She was easy to recognize from afar. High forehead, long, slightly curved tusks, and a soft, thoughtful gaze. When the rangers first noticed that Amara was pregnant, there was joy. But as time went on, it became clear that something unusual was going on. Her belly was enlarging much faster than other pregnant elephants the staff had observed in recent years. The leader of the observations, Senior Ranger Leo Kamate, a veteran with nearly 30 years of experience, immediately said, "It's not just a pregnancy. There may be something far more complex or rare at work here." To monitor Amara, the staff put a satellite transmitter on her, and Leo insisted that she be assigned a separate team of observers. From that point on, Amara became the park's most famous resident. At first, everything went quietly. Amara behaved as usual, wandering along the riverbanks, sometimes playing in the dust, coming to the watering holes. But every day, she became more and more slow, often retreating into the shadows, and it was noticeable that it was hard for her to move. Leo began keeping a personal observation diary in which he described her behavior daily. The entries became increasingly disturbing. October 8, Amara is hardly moving again, eating little. I suspect severe internal pressure. October, there are low moaning sounds, as if she's in pain. We must prepare for labor immediately. Kamade knew that interfering with the birthing process of elephants is extremely risky, but it would be a crime not to intervene. So together with veterinarian Dr. Lynette Ngoma, they began assembling a field medical kit, specially adapted to emergency care for the savanna giants. By mid-November, Amara's belly was so big that even the newbies among the rangers were whispering anxiously, "Could there be more than one?" November, at dawn, the GPS beacon went off. Amara had stopped moving for over 2 hours, had been on an open stretch of plain near a dried-up riverbed. Leo Kamade immediately sensed something wrong. He picked up his walkie-talkie. "Team, assemble. We're moving out. We've got everything. Medical equipment, thermal pads, flasks. I think it's starting." 20 minutes later, the three men, Leo, Dr. Lynette, and Assistant Ranger Joel, were speeding across the dusty savanna in an old but reliable Land Rover. The silence in the cabin was broken only by the noise of the engine and the rumble of gravel under the wheels. When they pulled up, the scene was disturbing. Amara was lying on her side, her huge body rising and falling heavily with each breath. She was frantically waving her trunk as if warding off invisible pain. "The contractions are coming," Lynette said, listening, "but it's going to be a long process. We have to proceed carefully." Leo came out first. He approached slowly, putting his hands up to show he carried no threat. Amara gave a muffled groan, but didn't push away their approach. She recognized Leo. He was often around when she was eating, drinking water, lying in the shadows. There was an invisible but strong bond between them. Dr. Ngoma did a quick examination. Her temperature was elevated, her pulse was tense. Her breathing was rapid, but something alerted her. She whispered to Leo, "She's having double heartbeats. Do you hear that? It's 2 fetuses, Leo. She's carrying twins. It's almost impossible." Leo went pale. In his decades of work, he had never seen the birth of twin elephant. Statistically, such births occur less than 1%. But even when they do, survival of both cubs is extremely rare. "We'll do everything we can to make sure they survive," he said firmly. The first labor started after 40 minutes. First the front leg showed, then the second, then the trunk. Leo froze. The baby seemed weak, but there was movement, a sound, the first breath. Everyone held their breath. Amara tried to get up, but couldn't. She only hugged the newborn with her trunk, pulling it close to her. Dr. Lane immediately covered the cub with a warm cloth and began rubbing it. Joel brought a flask of water to help clear the airway. A few minutes later, the cub was already kneeling trying to find its mother. His little ears were fluttering and his eyes were full of uncertainty. But the joy didn't last long. Amara moaned again, harder than before. Her stomach began to clench in new spasms. Second labor is starting. Lynette paled. It's too fast. Her body is exhausted. Gray clouds thickened in the sky. A warm wind blew across the savannah, as if nature was preparing for a rare miracle. Leo paced nervously around Amara, clutching the first aid kit in his hands. He knew that second births could be critical. Even in humans, carrying twins is a serious strain, and for an elephant whose body was already weakened, each contraction was a struggle. Dr. Lynette stood at Amara's head again, speaking softly. "You'll make it, girl. You're strong. We're here for you." The first signs of the second cub appeared 15 minutes later. But unlike the first, this baby wasn't moving. It was stuck in the birth canal. It was the worst thing that could happen. Lynette knew right away. Need help. She and Joel began gently pulling on the front, helping Amara. Her contractions were getting weaker, and her breathing was getting labored. Leo didn't move away. He knew that if we delayed, both mother and cub would die. After 3 hard minutes of exertion, the second cub came out. He wasn't breathing. Everyone froze. Only the wind stirred the dry savanna grass. Lynette instantly began to massage his chest. Joel gently blew on his trunk. Leo was kneeling beside him, almost out of breath. "Breathe. Breathe." Lynette mumbled, and then there was a slight nudge, a twitching of the ear, then a faint squeak, a microscopic but living sound. "He's alive," Joel shouted. The sky, as if waiting for this news, released the first raindrops onto the ground. The savannah was coming to life. Amara, who had been lying almost motionless, raised her head, reached out with her trunk to the baby and cradled it against her. Her eyes opened, reflecting both the light of pain and the glow of motherhood. There were 2 beside her now, one standing on wobbly legs, the other just beginning to move, but both were alive. Leo sat down on the ground and stared up at the sky, unable to believe that he had just witnessed the rarest event of his life. He pulled out his radio and spoke into the air. "All units, Amara has given birth to twins. Repeat, 2 live elephant cubs. It's a miracle." There were explosions of screams, applause, and enthusiastic voices over the radio. The team knew how rare such an occurrence was. Throughout the park, preparations for the festivities began. Even employees who had been on vacation began to return. Everyone wanted to see Amara's twin. 2 days later, Amara was on her feet. The cubs never left her side. One was a little bigger and stronger, the other quieter and weaker. But there was the promise of life in their every movement. Leo approached them respectfully. He didn't get too close, just stood at the edge of the clearing watching. Amara looked up at him, then raised her trunk, high, in the air. It was a sign of recognition, of gratitude and trust. "Thank you, girl," Leo said quietly. "You've given us all hope." Then he turned and slowly walked away, but he was left with a memory in his heart that he would carry for the rest of his life. How in the middle of the African savannah, a miracle was born. 2 hearts, 2 baby elephants, and a mother who conquered the impossible. Thank you for watching to the end. If you felt the thrill too, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This story is a reminder of how the wilderness is still full of wonder.